Oh, hey, I might want to change the channel. Boom. Where's the beard? There's the beard. Hello! I am known as Gaarawarr of the Reddit Guides. I am also known as Gaarawarr 100% That Lich from Discord, but today I am Gaarawarr of the Twitch streams, and I'm here to run a stream of idle champions for my friends. Specifically, these... Sean... Did you think I wouldn't recognize the C Team intro? What is this supposed to be? Idle Champions Incorporated, the G Team? Oh, that's actually not bad. We'll sit on that, but still, come on, Sean. I mean, look, I would have to recognize it. I've been denied an interview by Walnut herself. Documancer, level 3. I've had letters from Cthulhu himself. Scratchings. The near-death scratchings. And I'm not supposed to recognize that. Come on. Do better, Sean. Do better. I think we can all do a little better. All right, everybody. Let's move away from that and into something more enlightening, more happy, a little more fun. Let's all go to hell. Sort of. We're going to go to Baldur's Gate. If this window will open, holy cow. There we go. Descent into Avernus. We can now, as you see in the bottom right hand, actually go to hell. It's a thing. Check out that map. If you didn't see it earlier this week, if you haven't seen it in-game, you should probably reload your client. But we are going to be exploring a little bit. As you'll note, there isn't really anything for me to do here because I did it already. But we're going to activate a patron, which apparently won't let us do from this screen, and then we're gonna do stuff in hell because why not? All right, so let us go somewhere it will actually let us. Oh, hey, that's why it won't let me do a patron. I'm in a mission. Professional streamer here, folks. That's it. All right, let's get out of this mad wizard run. And we'll head into the actual game. Are Arkan and Krull homeless now? I don't think they're homeless. They've got their tower. It's there in Avernus. You can just barely see it, though. So let us do... well, let's see. Vajra tends to be the easier one. So we'll have an easy day. We'll hop into hell. Well, oh wait, hold on. So, as Mars pointed out, if you zoom all the way in and then kind of drag the screen over, you can see Arkan's tower up there in the top left. So that would be where Arkan is. This map is so cool. You just can't really. You got to zoom in and then kind of drag stuff to see all of it. But very neat, very neat. All right. So we are going to over here because we're in hell. Obviously, everything is awesome. Always awful. Excuse me. We're not doing that show. And all you know is wrong. It's basically every time I try to do something, right? Everything is awesome, awful. I'm never going to get that wrong. Right. See, everything's backwards. All right, so only champs with con of 15 plus can be used. That's a big requirement. To keep up the strength, Celeste urges the champions to eat or drink, but everything in Avernus tastes horrible. The champion's food and drink is afflicted by a different demoralizing trait every 5 areas. So we're gonna start off with this one and see what happens. If you haven't been to Avernus before, you'll notice the formation has a 3-tank front line, which then quickly goes into a weird little formation with a hole in the middle. That is affectionately known as the buff hole. We'll get into why later. But let's dive in. I already did the basic versions of these. They were interesting. The art is amazing, but we will talk about setting up multi-tank formations a bit and strategies for this. So right away, base attack cooldown of all champions is doubled. So yeah, that's fine because at the moment we're going to be killing off a click damage anyway. Alright, so I think just to get through the early parts, we are going to level up Deacon, and we're going to choose Boss Wants Speed just so we can go super, super fast. And then we'll throw Shandy in. This is basically our early game speed formation. We get dash doubled. So she's going to go zoom, zoom, zoom. We're not trying to get any requirements done here, so we're just going to go with Briv. I'm not going to go Metalborn. Normally, if you're trying to get a little more skippage out of what's going on, you would go Metalborn, but we're going to go with the flow for an actual tank formation once we get where we're going. We'll bring in Sentry. Echo's Will lets you reduce quest requirements to 30%. So that's going to take this 25 on our next level down to 17. That's going to be nice. And let's see, who else do we got? Wow, they're not letting us use a lot of people here. Ooh, Narak or Delana, can I just do neither? We've got a Dragon Bait. I may bring the Dragon Bait in, we'll see. Maybe a Neris support. Alright, so for the front line, we have a couple different options. We only have to go to 375, which isn't horrible, so I think we're going to go with Ayla in Stormcaller. And we're going to go with Dragonbait in Scents, Herbs, and Spices, because we're having multiple tanks. And with this kind of setup, basically, we've got some knockback. Oh, actually, I should go. Hold on. What am I'm missing? Well, we'll change this when we get a little higher. We've got some knockback, we've got healing, and then we've got some buffage going on. Later on, we're going to want to bring in some specific people like Turiel. He's got some nice stuff going on here. I would bring Havilar in, but she's not allowed on this in this version. For now, we're going to put Tyrell in the back for once. He's going to be buffing. We can always change things later if we want. We're just going to get lots of tankiness. So we got a little Grama. We're going to get some more shielding. Now we need to kind of figure out where this is going to go. And we will run... do we want Minsk or Narak? Do we have anyone else? We could go Delana, but then I'd have to go all the way to the back. Let's just throw Narak in for now. And we'll go Unerring Accuracy for a little more damage. And if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in with like a question. Frenzy, I have everybody except for Dragonbait. Who would you use in his place? I mean, you can use Tyrell in his bear form, so wild shape barrel. Put him up there. If you have Grama has a mountain form. Ultimately, it's just about getting a kind of a solid front line. Like I said, we talk a little bit about Turiel. Turiel actually has Axe in the tank slot and pushes people away from them and onto the other tanks, which can be pretty nice. But also, and the big thing that's important here in Avernus is Turiel has a buff against fiends. Doesn't like fiends, so we are dealing with lots of fiends. Basically, all the big baddies in here. Probably fiends. Ayla tanking instead of Sentry, yeah. I don't use Sentry as a tank that often. I want Sentry in here as a speedster. So if we look at Create Echo, come down to Echo Resolution. If Sentry's not been attacked in the highest unlocked area, there is a chance that quest requirements in the next area are reduced by 30%. So if I put Sentry up front and we load in and there's a ranged person and they actually get an attack off and it hits Sentry, then suddenly I lose my speed up, right? So right now I'm just trying to speed through the early stuff as quickly as possible. We're actually going to throw some potions on and just let it go super fast and see what happens. Checking out the chat. Am I a full-time biker? No. Nope. Why did you go for shielding instead of the other specialization on Korth? It's not just shielding. It's also speeds up attacks. I tend to like that because as we get into like an end, more of a like a wall formation, which we may or may not see here, depending on how we steamroll this. Having more attacks helps with certain champions. So like the more often Ayla attacks, the more often you get that knockback. The more often Gromma attacks, the more you can spread that freezing breeze around in her Arctic spec. For people like Caddy Bree, the more often she attacks, the more often she applies her Mark of Death. Stuff like that. I mean, it's just... There are lots of champions that you tend to use now, like in the meta, in-game meta, that apply things on hit, and the more often they can do that, the better. So... I see the code thing is still stuck on the Griddle champions. So someone might want to update the bot. I don't have the ability to do that, but it is on the screen. Gams Burl Grig. I think that's somebody trying to speak in the language of the fiends. Minsk for speed. You could. Here's the thing. All that Minsk does is at level 50 he has Boastful. Whenever a non-boss enemy wave spawns, there's a 10% chance of an extra enemy spawning and a 2% chance of 2 extra enemies spawning. So, you know, 1 in 10 waves, you get 1 enemy faster. It's pretty slow in terms of a speed upgrade, but, I mean, it might matter over time. He's just not necessarily my first priority. And in this one, it's, you know, I'm not given a lot of the normal options that I would usually go with. I mean, heck, we could probably even use a Zaka here, but not going to be a big deal. Oh, also, if you haven't filled out your, or if you haven't got the newsletter yet, the newsletter chest this week is going to be the Gold Footprint chest. This is for the March of Battle weekend, which, you know, March of Battle in April, could have been timed better. Yeah, I got to. Come on. All right, so let's see. I don't know. I think I have everything for these champions, so all I really want is some contracts, and we got a medium, so that's nice. Everything else is going to be duplicates, which is nice. That adds to my item levels. Tried to get Dragonbait, sat on the last boss in the run on soft cap, but couldn't down her. Is there a build or trick to that one, or just a stat gear thing? I'm at E20 favor. I mean, the first question is, like, were you soft capped? Which basically means, well, I can't show it to you here, but instead of these little symbols down here, it's just a circle with a line through it, so you can't upgrade them anymore. If you're there, that's one of the things you want to be able to hit, is the soft cap before you get to Valendra. If you're not able to do that, then you might want a little more favor. But in general, that fight is about survivability and less about damage. I mean, obviously you need damage too, but there's a certain breakpoint where you have all the damage you need. You're taking off plenty of chunks off of her armored health and killing her fine, but once she gets up to the higher levels of damage later on in the fight, after she's had multiple resurrections, you need to be able to live through that. So the best thing about that, I find, is having Calliope, shielding, so that you've got solid shields on everybody. And then having a healer. Obviously, Briv is the best healer, but he is in Calliope's slot. So you kind of need to just go with Calliope and then pick another healer. I like Dinar, if you have Dinar. Otherwise, you can go over... Ooh, who else do we have? You've got Sisaspia, but Sisaspia tends to... She could be okay. It depends on how many enemies are spawning. A lot of times you want a Fire Breath Potion to be killing off all the extra ads that are coming on the screen, so you just have the boss. In that case, Sisaspia works well. But you got to get some heals, and you got to get those shields. The shields, because you're going to eventually hit a point where Valendra hits you for more damage than you have health, and the shields are going to mitigate that. And then you have a healer that tops you back up, and then Calliope reapplies shields, and you just repeat. At some point, you're going to get... It's going to be so hard that you're probably just going to start dying, and that's when you just have to spam all the ults. People like Krull like to sit on Krull and hold that ult until the last second and fire it off. Krull can take off like 3 or 4 lives just off one use, so... Yeah, there's lots of little things Unfortunately, it's not something I could demonstrate on stream because I've done it all already. Should have run Strodgar. I know. It's Constitution, so you get all his stuff, but that's still a little more restricted than I'd like. Hey, Nightbot has their code right now. Stream name ideas. Streamawar. I think we're still taking stream name ideas. If I just picked up my third familiar with gems, should I keep working that direction or buy some feats? The third one is 30,000 gems. So after that, I mean, at that point, I would probably just be still picking up gold chests and trying to save up gems. Like, ideally, you want to get all epics on your core champions. Sometimes you would stop. Like, if you're just going to start doing mad wizard farms for gems, then picking up more familiars can help speed that process if you're doing it AFK. Kind of depends on how you're moving forward in that regard. I got confused for a moment when Zariel showed up on my screen. Forgot I was doing Deacon time. Yeah. I think we're going to see that eventually here in Avernus, but not yet. Not yet. Are there any plans to change any of the characters with the advanced levels the books have gone, such as Companions of the Hall being reborn and having different skill sets? I mean, I don't work for Idle Champions other than I do this stream on their channel once a week. So I don't know what their plans are there, but I doubt it. They've kind of looked at the champions as snapshots in time. The only one that they kind of brought up a little more modern was they needed to rework Jarlaxle because Jarlaxle wasn't in the greatest place. And when they reworked him, they kind of brought him up to the Waterdeep Dragon Heist version of Jarlaxle. But everyone is kind of more in their original versions that people know, from the books way back. Gaarawarr better to use as a buffer versus Nayeli as another tank. So Nayeli as a tank is great when you're starting off. I mean, that's really the first tank that you get. You kind of are forced to use her, but her restriction is that you have to put your DPS in the second line to get her ramping buff. And that's super restrictive in terms of formation building. So having champions that you can move your... I'm trying to remember, I probably want this like that just in case. That you have your... having tanks that you can move your DPS back further and have much freer placement with are usually considered better. So I like Gromma just in her Arctic spec for that reason. Like if I'm going to use her instead of as a tank. And I'm probably not using Nayeli a whole lot in my in-game stuff unless a variant requires it. So yeah. There is a neat little trick if you want to like push super deep, where you put Nayeli in her Vengeance mode, which is just her damage buff mode, like not even tanking really. She's just buffing damage and gets a little bit of health bonus. And then you put Gromma in her mountain spec, and you put Gromma in first, and you let everything build up on Gromma and get tons and tons of debuffs. And right as Gromma's about to die, you have this window up, and right as she's about to die, you click in Nayeli, and it just hot swaps them. And then all of those mountain debuffs, like the spike shell debuffs, stick around, and suddenly you get that massive ramping buff from Nayeli, and then you can just wipe things out. That's just super labor intensive, and you got to watch the game the whole time. And Gromma's paper thin because she doesn't have a health item, so you got to be real careful with that. But that is an option to use Gromma. That's just, I don't get that finicky. I'll get finicky on some things, but not that one. Drake Blackbeard, any tips on how to blast the Treasure Hunter? Hold on. The Treasure Hunter Adventure with 500 million favor? Do you mean like the achievement? If you're talking about achievements, I would just wait. They're not something that you need to do like right away. I'm not sure about a Treasure Hunter Adventure. If you want to tell me where that is. I mean, adventures are more formation based. So, which books would you recommend starting with as someone who is new to D&D? So, obviously, like the straight up D&D books, like the campaign books, are neat ways to learn about what the campaigns are and the main characters in them. But if you want like just books that are written with characters that are telling stories in that world, then you get into like the Legend of Drizzt series, which is the one that's like 3 dozen or 4 dozen books long. That's done by Salvatore, or you can do like that's all the Companions of the Hall characters, which I don't have any of them in, but that's Brunor here, Catti-brie, Regis, Drizzt, Wolfgar. Oh, Wolfgar's down here. But there's also like you can get Havilar and where's Farida? Havilar and Farida, the two tieflings. They're from the Brimstone Angel series. That's a more recent series. That one's pretty good. I think most of those are available on ebook right now. I mean, those are kind of where I go. I love the Elminster books by Ed Greenwood. Yeah, I think everyone's going to have a different idea there. Treasure Hunter is a Tomb of Annihilation campaign variant. Okay, hold on. Let me go look. I will have already completed it, but I guess I'm going to have to figure out where it is real quick. Oh, Ring of Regeneration. First part. Treasure Hunters. Okay, so you lose 2 slots right there. Treasure Hunters steal your gold, reducing your gold find by 99%. The Treasure Hunters also have 50% of the quest items that drop, just to be annoying. So basically, you just have to have a lot of favor. I mean, if the amount of favor that you have isn't enough to get you there, then you just have to go farm more favor. I mean, that's basically a favor check on that one, because dropping your gold find by 99% isn't huge, just because of the way the numbers work in this game. It will affect you the further you get, but the more favor you have, the less it's going to affect you. You'll be able to get enough damage early on. So go grind more favor in a free play. That's all you got to do. It's not really about. I mean, you can double check your formation by posting on Reddit or in in Discord, but ultimately it's a favor check. Can't imagine running Patron Tale of Two Champions, especially Strahd. I know about bud spiking, but that seems abusive. Any champ suggestions? I think the way I didn't necessarily do it with bud spiking. I just did it with tons of favor and click damage, and in that regard, Gromma's a big one. Gromma's debuff is one of the few that in her Arctic spec. I'm not even up that high yet. Hold on. Now I can look at it. Gromma's debuff, Freezing Breeze. Enemies affected by Sleet Storm take additional damage. So it doesn't say additional damage from champions, which is what a lot of debuffs say. So that means you can use click damage with her. So that's a big one. Look for things like that and use those kinds of champions. That's what I did. I have not tried the Strahd one yet. I was waiting until I have more of his perks. So if you'll see, Strahd's got Weakened Foes, which reduces the health of enemies. I'm definitely going to want that one. So until I can max that one out completely, I'm not really going to attempt that one. Because it's going to take a lot of favor, basically. Because there isn't like a 2-champ combo that's really going to push that far. Unless you wait a long time for lots of soft cap upgrades and stuff. So, alright, it looks like we are cruising right along. I'm in the 250s. Let me do a quick check on if I'm... Nope, not quite to soft cap, but we will level up everyone real high. I'll take this familiar off of click damage because I'm already at level 254 on my click damage. And I'm at level area 259, so click damage wasn't doing anything anymore. It only works up until roughly the level that you're on. You can go a little further with it in events, but that's because they have less health. And like I said, certain debuffs will let you go further. So let's just max everybody out here. And we'll pop a short Fire Breath Potion. So 15 minutes. So Fire Breath Potions is just going to add 150 seconds worth of your bud to the base damage of each click, which will just make me super click through this real quick. Except for these guys. Always got to wait. But he didn't even get to the party, so that's fine. Now, the one thing we haven't done is we haven't checked to see what's going on over on the Gearless account. Oops. Boom. Time gates are available. So, for those of you who don't know, this is an account I have that I made that I basically just don't open chests on. So it keeps the champions kind of gimped. Gives me a little better of an idea of what it's like for a new player to attempt stuff. Not perfect, because a new player with even white gear is going to be doing more damage than some of these people are. But, as you can see, I am in Vault of Dragons. This is kind of one of the last variants of the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. So, I have already pushed pretty far. I'm into Ravenloft in the Sword Coast campaign. I think I'm somewhere in Chult in the Tomb of Annihilation one, but I decided to push a little deeper on this one to see if I could unlock a patron, Vajra. I just need 15 adventures completed. And that's the only patron I'd be able to unlock over here, so. But this has one of the more interesting boss mechanics in the game, so we will hop over here real quick before we head back. Head back to hell. So this is real cool. So you get your Dragonette friend out here. What's the name again? Oof. I don't even remember. It's in the text somewhere. But basically you get Manchun. He's in this orb of invulnerability, so I can't fire off ultimates or anything. Like I can, it's just not going to damage him. You just kind of have to survive through this with healers and shielders if you got them. I'm going to stun until the dragon breathes fire like that. Once he does, you can unleash. And we will hopefully... Well, I don't think we're going to do it. It's too much. We lost too many people. If you time it right, you can clear out all the people and ult onto Manchun and wipe them out. But apparently I am just not strong enough to do the 250 version. I only had to get to 200 though, so I'm fine with that. We can go back to farming on that one. Unfortunately, I haven't done any of the Descent into Avernus on that account yet. Ooh, that's a nice bug. There we go. And it still shows as deadly, because Descent into Avernus is one of the hardest campaigns. So we may just hop over and attempt some of that. Let me check the questions. Gaarawarr, did you happen to figure walls in terms of champions and ultimates versus epic fire potions? So, what I did kind of look at was how things changed with the recent ultimate debuff finagling. So basically, you used to be able to push so far because of the way ultimates double dipped with debuffers that fire breath potions just wouldn't work anywhere near your wall. Now though, as long as if you're using a lot more straight buffers and not really debuffers, fire breath potions do real good near your wall and can help you go a little further. If you're using debuffers, they still work okay, but you don't really double dip in it as much anymore. I don't know. I can get a little bit further, but it's not like I'm going to get 25 levels or something. I might get, depending on like the stack of them. I'll have to do more testing on it. It's not a situation I find myself in a whole lot, so it wasn't something that I went real hard on. This looks like I still have Champions of Waterdeep, the final mission there, but let's go over and start over here. Would Black Viper's ultimate help in that boss fight? Possibly. I mean, there's a lot of ultimates that are good. Like, you want multi-hit ultimates, so Celeste, Jarlaxle, Dinar, Krull. Krull's the best one. If you can clear a path past the enemies. That's what I was trying to do there. Alright, we are not going to use Cathris, because Cathris steals some of your gold. So we'll throw our pal Brunor out. And we will we'll do something that looks more like this and see where that gets us. But for now, let's go see what we're doing over here. Oh, hey. That's nice. Connection issues. Alright, what's our debuff now? We're almost to our goal area, and I think we'll probably just blow through this with click damage. Enemies move faster and deal more damage. That's nice. Yeah, I think we're just gonna face melt this. We're not really to the point in Avernus yet where like veteran players are having a trouble, even with a 375 clear. But it's interesting. We'll see if the other one's a little more difficult. Alright, let me catch up in chat. So Saspi actually needs a healer for herself also, which is the downside I found using her there. Yeah, I mean, it's nice if you can have multiple healers. That's why I said I like Dinar, because Dinar can heal everybody. If you need tons of healing, usually with... this is back to the Dragonbait unlock, the fight against Valindra in Tomb of Annihilation. Survivability is the key, so multiple tanks that can health share. All the health potions is usually what I do. And then, you know, at least one shielder and one healer. If you can do more than that, sometimes that's great. Again, it's all about your damage, though. Alright, yeah, so we just kind of blew through that. Let's try the other variant. Maybe we go over to someone like a patron that's a little more difficult. Let's see how Mert handles it. Mert restricts your champions a little differently. He only wants good or evil champions. So let's see who he locks us down to here. We're just going to start off with Turiel, since we can't use our friend Deacon. We still get these other speedsters, so we're still going to throw them in. Alright, let's see what else we get up here. Nothing. Delana. Come on, I can click on the right spot. Nothing. Oh, just these. Alright. So I think we'll do Minsk for this one. And let's see about placement. So we're still going to want Dragonbait up front. Ooh, Naeli, Binwin, or Artemis. Well, I guess we could talk about Artemis a bit. So let's start with this. Let me check the questions real quick. Hi there, I just started a week ago. Calvoon, welcome. I own Strix. Today the time gate opened. My choices are Krull, Warden, and Xander. Yeah, Krull, just like the chat apparently all said. Krull. Krull's pretty brokenly overpowered, so get him until they decide to change that. Artemis, Wolfguard, Dinar are my gate champs, but I have Season 1 and 2 packs off Steam. Who should I pick? Ooh. I mean, I like Wolfgar for the bonuses he provides to Companion of the Hall, which is mainly Azaka farming, but also if you're running a Companion of the Hall formation, he's your tank. Dinar is a real good boy, though. He's got heals to everybody in your group. He's got buffs, and he's got a nice ultimate that can chunk through people with armor like this. So, is Delana viable with this weekend's buffs? I mean, no. I mean, she's fine for certain things, but there's just... Okay, let's talk about Delana for a second. Delana, and let's take Artemis out, and we'll talk Delana. Delana specifically, we'll leave that alone. Delana specifically wants to be... It's not going to say it here, does it? Hold on. So here's how the initial stuff of Delana works. Surge of Power increases her damage every time she attacks. And it resets after reaching max stacks or after not attacking for 10 seconds. So she has this nice ramping damage component. Whereas, you know, she just, every attack she's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then it resets. So it's kind of one of these things, right? Like her damage is going to do this and it's not going to be consistent. That's kind of their version of wild magic, I guess. Empowered spell. Whenever Delana attacks, there's a 50% chance that their spell will burn for additional damage over 6 seconds. This is huge, and this is how people will usually die, is if that triggers, you get a nice big extra buff chunk of damage. But I don't know that that factors into your base ultimate damage. So I don't know that that really helps a whole lot. In terms of spec, you just kind of want to go Tides of Chaos, so that's the Surge of Power, which makes her direct damage more damaging. And then Spell Bombardment. Here's the one that makes Delana tricky. Increases the damage of Delana by 100% for each champion in front of them in the formation. So Delana wants to be all the way back here. There are issues with this because she wants, in Avernus, she gets kind of what she wants. She gets a formation where she's all the way in the back by herself. So the 9 other champions are in front of her. This is max buffage for her. The problem is a lot of champions, like say Shandy, buff that people like, buff in front of them. And there's also some tanks that don't buff all the way to the back. So you run into some scenarios with Delana where even in a formation where she's good, you may not have the champions to support her and give her the kind of buff she needs. And some of the, high buffers. I mean, we could swap Shandy for Krull, and that would reach. But if you're running Calliope only buffs in front. You'd kind of want Dadius, who can buff to the back, but, Calliope's a better buffer. In some of these cases, it's just that the buffers are so much better for people that are in front of them than generically behind them. CNE's been adding champions that can better support Delana, so she's getting to a better place. But yeah, she still requires very specific formations. Like the Sword Coast formation is okay, but you're going to get those 8 champs. Tomb of Annihilation is horrible because there's a 4-person back row, so you can't put everybody in front of her. Waterdeep, she works okay for it's a 2-person back row, I think, right? So Baldur's Gate is kind of the only main campaign where she gets like a ton of people in front of her, but then you need 3 tanks that are going to buff all the way back. So let me review. I think Briv will attack or buff everybody. Yeah, he doesn't have a range. Let's check Turiel's. We're going to go Hardy Constitution because we're in a formation where everybody has high Constitution. So Turiel works well with Delana. Turiel buffs all columns behind them by 100%. For each column further back in the formation, it is from them. So Turiel Delana is kind of a great combo, but again, Turiel is really at his best here in Avernus. Because, where's his fiend thing? Unflinching Hatred. After attacking a fiend-type enemy, embodiment of the law increased by 100% for 30 seconds. When orders demand redirects the attack of a fiend-type, its effect is increased. So basically it gets a nice little bonus for Unflinching Hatred. Can't remember if that's... No, it's not one of his things. So he gets a nice little bonus, but overall, most champions are going to want somebody within a few slots. Like Dragonbait wants... His is a little more flexible in how far back it'll go. I can only get it in this formation. Oh, actually, his Shin stays within 5 slots, so he'll reach. He can buff further back based off each healer champion in the formation. So we've got a bunch of healers in at the moment, so that's helping. I mean, we can run this with her, but ultimately I'm going to get into a spot where I'm going to need somebody other than Shandy. Minsk isn't doing a whole lot here to help out Delana. What else can we do? Yeah. We don't really have any other swaps for them. Oh, we probably want to speed this up a bit, huh? Yeah, let's just run an hour-long one. And maybe 2 of the 15s. There. Let's get us a little beefier front line, level up our people. That's probably why everything wasn't dying. But I mean, I've used Delana. I've been forced to use Delana to complete high-level content in Strahd and patron variants and Strahd's against Strahd in Ravenloft. I don't think I care about any of those. So she can work. She's just very finicky about how she works. And we're going to go Kellamor's Will. That's going to give that little spiritual weapon to Delana, try to help a little bit more. All right, Dinar versus Paulton versus Averin versus Deacon as support. That's a lot of options. All of them. I mean, they all do different things. Deacon's going to give you speed and some buffage. Better buffage if he can be adjacent. Averin's going to get you just buffage, but he has a bit of RNG with his mirrors, so you want some people of the same kind of alignment around him, and he needs adjacency too. Paulton doesn't want to be anywhere near you, so that's nice because he can be super far away. He buffs, but he also has Gold Find. Dinar is healing and buffage, but he wants to be either in the column with you or in a column in front of you. So he would actually be good here. If I wanted another healer instead of using Korth, Dinar would be good because he'll buff all the way back to Delana. It's just kind of the situation you're in. I mean, there's a certain point with supports where they're all just kind of situationally good. Some are going to have better buffs than others, and it's going to be based more off your gear than anything else. So, Timegate, Vlanya, Xander, Regis. Probably Vlanya, since you already have Regis. Darth Junius. Xander is not the greatest boy currently. Checking out chat. So we're trying a little different setup this week. The nice folks at Codename Entertainment are pulling some questions from me and throwing them in a Google Doc. So I'm trying to read that instead of necessarily just scrolling through all the chat. But I will attempt to do a little bit of both. What's up, Ragnets? Wish my game speed was that fast. Jaxus, it can be. It just takes the right champions and some potions. Korth or Warden? Yes, both of them. Trontonian. Warden, I know he says DPS support, but he's really just more of a support. He's got a nice hex debuff that he can apply, and he applies stacks of it. Korth can do lots of stuff. Korth applies a little bit of shields, which you can see kind of on the ring here. They've got some tiny little shields on them. This comes from Korth. They just lost him. Korth applies that basically if you hit one of his targets that are marked. He can also speed up your attacks and your ultimate cooldowns a bit, if I remember correctly. Am I saying that wrong? So many champions. I gotta remember all off the top of my head. Champion that attacks one or more marked enemies gets a single 0.25 second reduction to their next base attack, and then I think he's got his spec that redoes, ultimate attack cooldown. So 5 seconds off. So he's got some options to make you do the damages and speed up your attacks, and with the way Bud works, the faster you attack, if you can do the same amount of damage but quicker, that raises your Bud. So if you have questions about Avernus specifically, throw them out. I know the champions that are kind of have Avernus specific bonuses are going to be Turiel, which we have in right now. Havilar. Havilar has a thing where she just hates fiends. So she has bonuses against fiends. That's going to help you out in Avernus as well. She's the tanky tiefling over here in Turtle Swap neighborhood. You also get Dragonbait. We have him in. He has bonuses against tiefling or against fiends as well. With his ultimate, Holy Avenger, it's probably easier for me to look at out here. Any fiends or undead left alive are marked with an overlay of the Holy Avenger. This is after you use his ability. Champions who attack marked enemies deal 400% additional damage. So that's basically 5 times damage against someone that you ultimate but don't kill, which is nice. I'll take those bonuses. Gabu, excuse me, I'm a newbie looking for tips. Any hero to head for? I'm using the starting ones and I have 12 Timegate pieces. Well, there's a time gate weekend, a natural time gate weekend right now, so you don't need to use any of your time gate pieces. If you just come up here and you click on that arch, oh, I need to close this. Oops, I was doing a Morgaine time gate. Didn't get any of the items I wanted for her, but that's okay. So let's do this again. Natural time gate. Hey, free time gate weekend. This is what you'll see. And then you can just view available time gates. It's going to give you 3 choices on a natural time gate weekend. So you can choose any one of the 3 choices, and you can ask questions about, either here or in Discord in the Timegate channel, or on Reddit about who to pick. I own all of these. I have obviously epic gear on all of these. It's showing you. So it also shows you the item level. So I have 51 on Gromma, 97 on Strix, 60 on Binwin. I would have probably chosen Gromma anyway. That's probably where I'll head, just to boost her item levels up a bit. But that's probably the best thing to pick up a new champion right now. And then afterwards, we're going to have an event that starts next week. I would kind of hold on to the Timegate pieces for the moment. Just run that next event. You'll get to pick up 3 new champions, for 3 new for you. For us, it's going to be the running. That's Catti-brie, Spurt, and they just announced Kreidel. Kreidel is one of the last heroes of Baldur's Gate, like Delna. So Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliation, that will say Kreidel as of next Wednesday. Pretty sure that's the champions we have. Catti-brie and Spurt should be. So I would do that, and then you'll have a little better idea of what's going on, and then you can grab different champions afterwards. But you're going to be busy right now as a new player with a free time gate and then an event coming up. That'll keep you pretty busy. Shandy, Zorbu, or Cathris in time gate preferable. I would go Shandy. Ultra Rokon. Shandy is the speedster. We've got her in the back here. She's shooting them arrows. She's got that little purple and black arrow. That means we're sped up. She speeds the game up like a speed potion. So we get, I think, a 30% bonus right now. You find it's dash. Oh, 50%, excuse me. When the formation has been under attack for 60 seconds. So, there is a requirement. Basically, she'll push you up to the point where you're not able to instant kill stuff anymore, and she'll do it real quick. But that's a nice way to get through kind of those early slow levels a lot faster. I wasted 3 big potions in that one, but can't get past 175. Potions aren't a guaranteed way to get past something. One of the things in this game is potions are great. They have nice added bonuses. As you can see, there's giant strength potions, which is for damage. There's clairvoyance, which increase your gold find. Heroism, which increases health. Fire breath, which is going to give you a little extra damage. And then, of course, speed potions. They're there to help you, but you almost have to understand how much they're going to give you as a bonus. They do work together. They do work off of each other. But they're not going to carry you a significant amount of levels, and that's just kind of something you learn over time when you play, is how far is a full stack of potions going to get me. And sometimes it's not just about the damage ones. Sometimes you want to make sure you have both damage, like giant strength, and heroism, like to buff up your health. If you've got tanks that ramp up with more enemies or within rage stacks, the longer they stay alive, the more damage you do. So you got to keep that in mind too. But they're not going to get you like 50 levels or something. Timegate, Deacon Dadius Barrowan. Deacon. I like Deacon for speed. Normally he would be in here. He's a speedy boy. He's also got really nice buffs after his recent update. But yeah, most people use him for speed. Who's a good slot 4 change? Sentry. Slot 4 is mostly gold find champions. Like everyone but Sentry helps out with gold find. Jarlaxle starts off the game and gives you one of the biggest gold find bonuses ever. But like Stokey and Paulton are solid because they offer both buffs and gold find. Sentry is going to be a speedster option. So like I said, she speeds up the game. She's making it, well, not on this level. Here, she makes it so that this says 17 instead of 25 at the top right. But that's item based. You have to level up her item to get her to do that a lot, like every time. Otherwise, it's just going to be occasional. She's also a pretty good tank early on, which is why someone was asking me why she wasn't up front. A lot of people, you definitely can use her as a tank, and she does well. She just has certain restrictions on how she does that. She wants to... Let's see. She buffs healing if you've been attacked in that front row. So she's good. She's best in a multi-tank formation, so she would be good in Avernus as well. And then she buffs on the next area. Stop doing that. What else? Her synergy. So she's one of the heroes of Erois. She wants to be in a group with the others. Right now that's Ayla and Quilek, or Keelek, Quill. I will never pronounce that right. So Ayla and Quill, if you're using both of them already, then she's going to give you a nice extra bonus to her Guardian of Soul Wind ability and to them. So Sentry's good if you have all of the other heroes of Erois. There's still 2 more left to come too, so keep that in mind. Is Zorba the best only for the weekend buff? That wasn't to me, but I'm going to answer that anyway. Zorba's just pretty solid. You have to have a decent amount of favor to be able to get him into the game, though. He is in slot 12. He's all the way down here. He's our little racist gnome. He basically hates people, and that's what makes him good, is he likes to go kill them repeatedly. If you have enough favor where you can get him in, he can be a good swap for you for DPS. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, no. Yeah. I mean, it usually takes me, on my Gearless account, I have to get him up to, like... I have to be able to put 130 to 150 levels in him before he can out-damage whoever else I'm using as a DPS at the time. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not just, I can unlock him and put him in at level 1 and he's supposed to be the best. No, he has to have levels. He has to kind of get to his curve. And this weekend, for people who do use him and have him farmed up, this is a pretty solid weekend, because not only do you get Zorbu with a buff, but you get his pal Avrin, who you usually run with him, with a buff as well. So it's a pretty good weekend for people who really want to push deep, because they get 2 of what are considered kind of the top-end meta champs that have a buff. We've seen better weekends, but that doesn't mean that you just ignore this one. Scrolling through the chat. Gabu, your voice and tone is pretty zen. It's really cool. Oh, thanks. I was born with it. Oh no. Time to come up with Gaarawarr stream name ideas. Yeah, we'll find one eventually. We had a bunch that were given to us at one point. We'll settle into something eventually. Should probably go check on. We're in the 200s. We got time to go over here. Hey, we've got a lot of gold. And we're still going. So we're up to level 39. This is all based off click damage, because my click damage is now up to 43. So I didn't even need to be here to watch this, which is nice. Let's just use some of the base champions to give people an idea of how rough this is right off the bat. Well, that should be fine. So just starting off, if you only have Nayeli, hopefully by the time you get to these starting Avernus levels, you have more tanks. So we will have to swap some people in, but starting off, you would look into something kind of like this. We'd go College of Valor. We need some survivability, so we're going to go Oath of Devotion. Celeste needs to heal 2 columns up, so you go Life Domain. So same amount of heals, just goes 2 columns ahead instead of just 1. Burner's going to go Shield Master, so he gets a ramping buff off the tanks. Jarlaxle is going to be our DPS for the moment, so we're going to go Elves and Dwarves. Ooh, actually, let's plan ahead Is he going to end up being my DPS? This is something I have to keep in mind. I don't have a lot of favor here. I have 1500, so yeah, he's probably going to be my DPS for this whole time. You have to plan Ashara's in advance. We'll probably go ahead and use Ayla as another tank because we need them. But that'll keep us rolling for a while. I'm actually going to go Master of Piracy here because I'd rather have twice the gold find at this low of a level of gold find than twice the damage, because I'm going to be able to get more money to level him up better. Alright, we will let that cruise along. I love the pain in your voice every time Delana comes up as an option. I mean, it's just rough. She's fine. She really does need a very specific formation. So there are some event formations. There's an event formation that looks like a Christmas tree. So it's got, 4 rows with just one in the back. That one works for her. Anything that's got just one in the back, and if you've got the champions and the tanks, it's just you need such a heavy investment for her. And as a core champion, it's just rough because you need champions that aren't part of the core to make her do well. So it's just she's weird. She's weird. So yeah, I don't know that she's viable with this week's buffs, but if you have to use her anyway, then I mean, this week's a good time. If I was still stuck on Visions of Strahd, which for those who don't know, that adventure requires you to use just your core, like your first 9 core champions only. So you end up using Delana as a DPS. If I was still doing that, I would be happy for this weekend because I would need the extra damage, but because she doesn't do enough on her own. But I've already finished that, so. Yar, set sail with Gaarawarr for the stream name. I mean, I'm all about the pirate stuff, but I don't know that really fits the theme of the show. Gaarawarr's Adventure Outfitter. That kind of goes along the lines of Gaarawarr's Bizarre Bazaar that we had a long time back. I already have Krull, so Shandy's a bit of a hard sell. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, Panda. You use them at different times. So Shandy gets you to your wall. Krull pushes your wall. You don't want Krull in at the beginning. He's not doing anything at the beginning. Krull's big power comes from being able to stack up debuffs, and early on in your run, you're killing things faster than he can put a debuff on them anyway. So you put in Shandy at the beginning, you put her in her speed spec like we were doing on the other account, and you just run to your wall super fast. Because the faster you get to the wall, the more time you have to push your wall, right? And then you can get on to another mission. If you're just doing it like variants, she'll get you where you need to go quick. And then once you get up to that point where things slow down, you swap Krull in. That's basically when people talk about setting up a speed formation. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about putting in people like Deacon and Shandy and Sentry and Briv just at the beginning, running to their wall real quick. Oh, Melf now, running to your wall real fast. Why aren't we moving? There we go. All right. And then pulling them out and swapping them in for a regular team. You're just trying to get rid of the amount of time it takes you to get to that area where you're actually killing things with your champions. When you wish upon a Gar. That sounds more like a Disney-themed stream. If they ever hire me, I will definitely do that. The joy of idle champions. Here's a happy little formation. I'm actually going to write that one down because that may have to be a thing at some point. Hold on. I mean, I don't know that would be an actual official stream name, but maybe like a one-off stream. Like today's episode title is Gaarawarr Goes to Hell, so who knows? I've always picked Plague Pain with Krull. I don't know what the merits for the other choices are. For something as big as Plague Pain, could anyone give any insight? Yeah. So we're not running with Krull on this account, so let us hop over take a look at the other one. For those who don't know, like right down below these two, Jarlaxle and Calliope, you can see that it says Gearless account WebGL. So that's what I'm doing. I'm switching in between accounts. So if you ever want to know what account I'm on, look right below. So now we're on my main account, which is a Steam account. So let's go look at Big Boy Krull. So, Krull applies plagues, and he has his specializations affect each of those plagues in different ways. Well, I shouldn't say in different ways. They all get buffed basically double their power. But the different plagues have different effects. So Pilfer, which is the first one, in green, that increases the amount of gold you get per Pilfer stack. Pain increases just straight damage. And Traitor is a plague that whenever you deal damage to someone with Traitor on them, it does an AoE explosion around them. It hurts everyone around them, thus calling it Traitor. So each of these has a different focus. Pilfer is if you're really just trying to push and grind favor, you're going to use that. I tend to use that a lot on my Gearless account, because each of my regular runs, if it's just a regular adventure, I tend to try to push and get a lot of favor on. If I'm just trying to complete a variant, though, I'll switch to either Pain or Traitor, depending on one important thing. The difference that I find between the two is I find Traitor works really well if you have a single or multi-attack DPS. So, say like Jarlaxle is going to hit one enemy at a time, sometimes multiple if he kills them. So that's a single/multi-attack champion. So having him hit someone with a really buffed Plague Traitor means I get AoE damage out of a single attack champion. Whereas when I go with someone like Zorbu or someone with a cleave like Minsk, then you go with Pain, because you're already doing AoE damage. You don't need necessarily the Traitor, so you can just max your amount of damage. That's how I choose between them. And then of course if you're going to run Makos or Azaka farms, which are a whole other ball of wax, you're going to want to change the spec to Pilfer when you get up to where you're going. So for here, we're using Delina. Delina does an AoE, so we would choose Pain with Delina. And let's just... I see we died to a boss, so we're going to max. Just dump all the gold. I'm not really worried about efficient spending here because I make a lot of gold. Oh, we're almost at our soft cap too. Here's what I was talking about earlier with the soft cap, the little circle with a line through it. There are no more upgrades to be had for anyone with something like that, which should be just about everybody here shortly. Yep. So as the gold's kind of coming in, getting farmed off all these people, I can take that off. Here we go. Let's kill them. Yeah, it just fell over. That's nice. That's all we needed. All right, picking back up in chat. If you have a question, go ahead and ask. I will get to it at some point. I try to get through all of these. Trying to skip all the stuff that got answered already. Is there a guaranteed way of getting timepieces? This was asked to somebody else, but I'll just answer this one for everyone. Yes and no. Well, you're guaranteed one as a natural drop off a boss every 5 to 6 days. You can also, as you unlock your patrons, they sell you one a week for 2,500 of whatever their currency is. As you can see, I already bought them all because, of course. So, yeah, technically now, if you have all the patrons unlocked, you can get pickup for a week. But you're just automatically guaranteed one from a drop, no matter what. Scrolling through the chat. Looks like we answered most of this stuff. Next event starts Wednesday. Damon Black, yes. Events always start on a Wednesday. There's one event every 3 weeks. So Wednesday the 22nd? Yes. So check my calendar. Wednesday the 22nd is the next event. Important things next week. So the time gate, the natural time gate will end Monday at noon. By end, I mean it closes. You can actually wait. If you're busy this weekend and you don't want to open your time gate right now, you can open it on Monday morning, and then you'll still get access to it for 72 hours after you open it. Tuesday, along with my stream in the middle of the day, later on in the day, like right after my stream, over on the Twitch TV/Penny Arcade, they will be doing an Idle Champion stream, and they will be doing Twitch drops for the Gem Dark Magic Green Flame skin. And if you get that and this Green Flame click damage skin you see over here, you will also unlock a skin for the Mage Hand to make it a Green Flame Mage Hand. So that's coming up on Tuesday. We should also see the Champion Spotlight drop on Tuesday, which will have more information about Krydle, which is the upcoming champion to, I think it's just pure support champion, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. And one of the heroes of Baldur's Gate. And then Wednesday, the event arrives. That's the running. So you'll get Catti-Bree, Spurt, and Krydle. I should probably verify, but I'm pretty sure that's. If you ever want to know what event is coming next, just scroll all. Greengrass is what we had last. That's going to be at the top, and then the next one is all the way at the bottom. So yeah, the running, Catti-Bree, Spurt, and Krydle. And that'll last for like 12 days, something like that. So you can always check the Reddit. We'll obviously have streams about it next week. My stream, Mars's stream, the CNE stream will talk about it. Everybody will be talking about it next week. And then you can check the Reddit for guides, like I do a guide to the event itself. Lisa usually does a review of the champion. Hey, my stream is live now on Twitch. Struggle a lot with the shield enemies during the event. Saberman, yeah, same. On my Careless account, it tends to be pretty rough. If it's like basically the armored enemies, I think is what you're talking about. So there's a difference between armored and just a hit point based. So there are just like a segmented health boss, which is going to be like 50 health, and it has 50 little armor chunks, like 25 that are yellow, 25 that are red, and then those you just have to do 1 point of damage. Those can be rough because it just means you have to hit it a lot to kill it, and it can be doing all kinds of things to you in the meantime. And then the armored ones are even worse, like these hellhounds. Oh no, these hellhounds are segmented health. So they've got, as you can see, 50 health points, and every hit is taking it off. You just have to last long enough to kill them, but every attack is going to do something to them. But the armored ones are going to have an actual normal value for health, but then be segmented like that. And then you have to do a minimum amount of damage to each one, which means only on the armored ones, only your main DPS is probably going to be taking off any chunks, and also your ultimates. So you want to have multi-hit ultimates like Jarlaxle's Celeste, Tyrell's Moonbeam, Krull's Corrupting Ghouls, Dinar's Projectile Vomit. What I can't remember what it's called, but that's what it is. Yeah, those are the things you kind of got to keep in mind and in your pocket for those armored bosses. Isn't Black Viper good when you get enough gems for her? She's okay. She's usable. It's just, she was kind of version 1.0 of, hey, use this champion repeatedly and you'll collect a lot of stuff, and the more you collect, the better the buff is, but eventually she caps out. Whereas Zorbu goes forever, Morgaine goes forever. Like, the people that go forever tend to be the ones that everybody prefers. Even though there's diminishing returns, it's, Black Viper is, one of those kind of multi-attack targeting champs. So when you get into like big waves at your wall, it's hard to pick out somebody that has a specific debuff on them to hit, whereas AoE will just always hit that. So those champions tend to fall off a little towards your wall because of that. Again, that's why I tend to like to throw Traitor on Krull to help those champions out, but that means I'm not getting more damage. So Zorbu is not really racist. Zorbu is absolutely racist. I can't bring him up, but Zorbu's story... Well, hold on. We can bring up his story. I think it'll let me read that. Oh, hey, we completed it. Grew up in a small village. Blah, blah, blah. One night, an army of Drow and their minions descended upon the village in force and basically killed everybody. From that day forward, Zorbu trained, vowing revenge upon the Drow and any who claim allegiance to them. So he hates all Drow. That's racist. That's what that means. Alright. So, we kind of just churned through Mert's version pretty easily. He kills all equally, no favoritism. No, he has favoritism. He actually specifically does more damage to those enemies that he doesn't like. So specifically, humanoids, Drow, which Drow are both Drow and elves and humanoids, and then undead and beasts. So he doesn't kill fiends the same way he kills those. He doesn't kill, I don't know, aberrations the same way. So he doesn't kill all equally. He actually favors those. All right, let's just try All You Know Is Wrong. So this one, I'm not sure if they fixed it yet. It's supposed to be whenever a boss creature dies, there's a chance they immediately respawn as a relentless ghoul. And then those don't disappear. So let's actually try this as Strahd. Much higher completion goal, so we'd have to get to 425. And he has different restrictions on who he will let you use. So if we look here, he wants only champions with an int score of 13 or higher. So he wants the people who think they're smart. So let's see who we can use. So we can use Regis. I've got his new Vistani skin. That's straight out of Strahd's shop. We'll use our bird boy Quilek. We can bring Shandy back for a little bit of speed. I like Caddy Bree and Hitch and Morgaine. How we doing? Is that going to be everybody? Oh, and Melf. Hey. Melf for a little bit of speed too. So who are we going to do as our tanks? So again, we'll throw Turiel up in front as our first tank. I'm still going to do Hardy Constitution. It's really just specific on who you're using, but I think we're fine with that. So we'll bring back our Herbs and Spices boy, and then because we don't have a lot of other options here, we're going to use Tyrell in his bearer form. So we're going to aim our DPS into this third column. And we're going to choose Caddy Bree within the zone as our actual DPS. We'll throw in Morgaine. We're going to do her special social distancing spec, so everybody needs to stay the hell away from her if you want to get a buff. And we'll do some healing with the bird boy, which means we're going to need to swap some places here. We'll do this because we want him. He heals more the further you are away from him. So we want to keep him as far away from our tanks as possible. But he does also need to be next to... He also wants to be next to the DPS. So I swapped this around because Turiel's not going to take any damage. So Turiel can be closer to Keelek. But we still want to heal our other two tanks and keep them pretty far away. Dragonbait's going to be the one that needs the most help because Tyrell's a big beefy boy. Alright, let's see. Who else do we want? We have an option. We could do some... Oh, I said we were going to talk about Artemis, so we'll do Artemis here, actually. So I said we were doing a Caddy Bree DPS formation, and I have all the buffs kind of pointing at Caddy Bree. So She's going to be getting buffs off of all of these people. Actually, I'm not sure if this Dragon Bait's going to reach. Yeah, 4 slots. Good. So 1, 2, 3. Morgane is everybody who's not next to her, so that's everyone down here, which is ideal for this. And then we've got adjacent buffs, buffs in front, buffs right behind. Oh, we should set that up. Regis is going to buff behind. But here's the key, is we're going to have Artemis observe off of Foe, which is off of Catti Brie. This is a bigger multiplier. And so then when we set Regis's debuff on everybody else, because Artemis is actually our actual DPS, we want to do Ruby Weakness Melee. So that's going to focus everything, hopefully, basically onto Catti Brie, and then Artemis observes that at a higher level. I don't think we have a perfect formation for this right now, but it's going to be the one we're going to use. Let's go with that one. So I'm trying to set Morgane up to provide a decent buff for her placement. She can't be... Oh, she is within 2 of everyone, of the 2 tanks that matter. So this is a ramping version of her buff, Calm Under Pressure. So we'll use that because it's going to go off both Barrel and Dragon Bait. We don't have to worry about reaching Turiel. It's a nice thing about using Turiel in a 3-tank formation, is you just basically have 2 tanks. You don't got to worry about it. Level everybody up all the way. And we'll throw on a little bit of speed. And we'll see where we get. Maybe a little, maybe just a dash more speed. All right. Gaarawarr's Guild Hall. Trying to catch him in chat. Boy, I'm a ways behind. Well, will you use the weekend buffs for anything, Gar? Elfgris, the Zorbu and the Avern stuff are going to come in handy. So I've been trying to do time gates, basically to flesh out my collection. I need, wait, why am I, did I get Sisaspias? I got Sisaspias, World Serpents, I was missing that. Who am I missing? I'm missing, oh, I need to mark that off my list. I've got a little post-it. Hey, I got all the Sisaspias. I'm missing Morg and Melf now. So let me find them. What am I missing on them? I just ran a Morgane at Time Gate, but I didn't get anything, and I think she's still got like maybe 2 more Time Gates to go before the pity timer. So hopefully I get it in the next one, but I need her blade, and then I need Melf's shield, and then I'll have all my champions in epics. So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. And then because I'm running a time gate, I'm just going to go ahead and push as deep as possible, because every 100 areas, for every 100 unique areas I go, I get a silver chest too. So running the time gate not only helps me farm for those epics that I need, but also helps me get item levels for those champions without having to spend blacksmith contracts, which is the only other way to really dump specific item levels onto event champions. So hopefully I can do that before the next champion drops, just to say, for once, I had epics on everything. Even though that goes away with every event. Best gold find favor farming setup. Check last week's VOD, where I did a Azaka farm. It's not, I mean, it's always going to depend on what champions you have, but I think we set up a pretty solid farm. I think the only thing I didn't do was try to get a 40 stack mimic. I think we only had a 30 stack mimic. I say only, but that's a lot. But yeah, that should be on this channel under videos, or if it's not uploaded to the CNE Games YouTube channel, it should be there soon. As a new player, should I focus on speed or wall? Push your wall, Rat Chat. Push your wall. So grab those, nice supports that help you get further, like Krull and Avron, and then get as much favor as you can. That's going to help you push your wall too, because you're buying blessings. And then supplement that with speed, just to make things go a little quicker. Did you finish Vajra's A Tale of Two Champions somehow? Yeah. Yeah, I did Vajra's and Mertz. Again, just click damage and debuffs. So Gromma's debuff makes enemies take more damage from everything, not just champions. It just takes a lot of gold, and you level up. You're basically gold farming there. When you stop, you just have to gold farm. Earn as much gold as you possibly can. So pop gold potions, and then, you know, just level up your click damage down here. I love the convert to text function. Is it possible to get a full transcript somehow? There are some really funny sentences there. No, no, Godscream. There's not. It is just what it is. It does its best and helps out those who need it, but it's not always going to be perfect because either my pronunciation is clipped or it's trying to pick up a fantasy name and it doesn't understand. It's kind of the way it is. It's not something I'm not reading off a script, except at the very beginning when I read the script Sean gives me, and I really got to stop reading those. I got to start reading them before I actually start the show. Scrolling through the chat. Is there a video review for each champion, or is the only reviews of the Reddit ones? Saberman, it's Reddit. Silisa does a Reddit post about the champions as the event ones as they come out. Just kind of gives you a head up, but it's just like a snapshot in time. They don't update those over time unless there's a major change, and then they'll just make a new one. The problem with like a video review is the second they make an update to the game, that video review is just garbage and can't be used anymore. And that's a lot of work. Videos, you know, unless you're just doing a quick and dirty thing, videos take a lot of work to do and to do well as a review. And then you just have to trash it and do another one once they make changes to the game. That's a lot of effort to just throw away. Are there some good rule of thumb favor breakpoints where it makes sense to sit and spend new favor on blessings or some other strategy to it? Wings of Janitor, let me switch back over to my Gearless account. Basically, what I do over here is I look at how much... I come over here, I see, like, well, do I want a certain blessing or not? If I want it, like, obviously, Street Hazards increases the damage of all champions. Yeah, I want that. All walks of life, I want that. This is base damage of rogues, bards, and wizards. Sure. You know, like, things like this you want. But if you click, and definitely these globals, but if I were to click on Deep Pockets right now, this little pop-up is going to say, are you really sure you want to spend 21% of your favor? No. No, I don't want to do that yet. But I can click on these, and it automatically spends it. As long as it's letting me spend it without that pop-up, I'm going to throw that money there. There, I got all of those now. So that's maxed out. There. So now it says, do you want to spend this much money on Helm's Favor? No. Anytime the pop-up comes up, I don't want to spend anything on those blessings. I just want to spend until I get the pop-up, and then I want to close it. And then some of these I don't even want. Like Slow and Steady I won't want. Increases the damage of all champions by 2% for every epic. This account I don't open gear or don't open chests on, so that wouldn't do me any good. But for like my main account I have it because I have tons of epics. But you know, this one isn't a high priority for newer people. Obviously, it is a 3rd tier blessing, so it's pretty expensive. But unless you have lots of epics, it's not going to do you much good. So that's a good way just to look at it. Can I buy any of these? Yep, so just throw in money wherever it'll let me without giving me a pop-up. That's basically how you do blessings. It's not super complicated. Now we got walled here, so let us figure out what's going on. We're gonna need a little damage, I'm sure. And probably a little tankiness. So I'm trying to spend efficiently. I know where these breakpoints are already, just from use. Like I know 400 is a breakpoint for I can put another 100 levels in there, and that's going to be fine. Let's see what this boss is. chewing through those because we had a lot of click damage levels. Yeah, once we upgraded, we just ran right through them, so that's fine. We're at the point now, though, where I'm not going to be leveling up click damage anymore on this account for this run because it's at 54 and I'm almost at 54, so I'd rather have the 3 clickers out here killing things super fast for me, and then when they aren't doing anything at all, I'll move them down to roam the ultimate bar. I underestimated Shandy for a while because I had Kroll. I was not disappointed when I did get her. Yeah, she's great, and honestly, I mean, as a buffer too, in places you can't use Kroll, she's a great buffer too. She isn't just speed. Does anyone argue for spending after the warning? I saw something about in special circumstances. Sure. So since we're talking about blessings, there are some special circumstances. Let me find the specific one. Okay. So this is one. Temporary worship increases the amount of favor gained from resetting in event campaigns by 25%. So if you're going into an event, it's about to start, and you know you're going to spend all your time in that event, there's no reason, and you're not going to be in Tomb of Annihilation at all, then you can just throw down and spend this one EO8 gold or favor on this blessing so that you get even more favor from your event run. And then once the event's over, if you're going to go back and do more Kellamvor, then you just click the reset blessing button. It's going to charge you like 1% of your favor, but that's fine because you'll have earned way more than that in your conversion if you're going to convert like straight back to Kellamvor. And then you can just buy all the blessings back and you're fine. It's not a huge loss to lose 1% at this point if you know you're getting such a big gain off your event conversions. Another one is Start Strong, which is tier 4 in Sword Coast. Start all events with 2,500 more event tokens. We all know, if you've been around a lot and done an event, you know event tokens are limited. Starting with 2,500 is super nice. So you have to, if you have an event coming up, you want to buy this before the event starts. Because if you buy it after the event starts, it's not going to trigger and you won't get them. But if you have enough favor to buy this, you would buy it for that event. Like even if that was all you had, if all you had up here was 7.6 E13 favor, dump it all. Dump all 100% of your favor basically. Buy it, and then just reset blessings after the event's over and rebuy what you want. Those are kind of those in certain circumstances. So, what about Morgaine? Should she be used often to gain the most benefit, or how does she exactly work? So, Panda the Senpai, Morgaine likes to get paid. Using her, it's really going to depend. If you need her all the time because she's going to be a great buffer for you, then put her in and use her. But she takes 25% of your gold up front before it goes to, what you've collected up here in the top left. So she's just taking that and you're not really getting anything other than her presence out of it. And then at earlier levels, it's not really adding a huge bonus. The way you kind of want to build her up is to put her in. I mean, you can use her all the time, but she's going to get her biggest earnings and what sets her kind of high water mark for her buff when you're at your wall, or if you're doing Makos farming or Azaka farming, where you're getting huge amounts of gold coming in. That's the only time that's really going to move that bar at all once you've started using her, is when you're somewhere where you're getting a ton of favor. Outside of that is when you would then use her just to get a benefit of the damage, but you just have to keep in mind that she's going to take your money. So you have to know that you're going to get, far enough with her in to make it worth it. She's great for variants because, she offers a lot of power, and you just need enough, as long as you've got enough gold to get through the variant. It's not like you're pushing all the way to your wall or something. You just pop her in, get that damage done, and move on. So she's good. She's just costly. And the only way you really raise that bar for her is at your wall. I only put her in usually to try to get gold on her. Let me hop over to the other screen. To try to get gold on her, I put her in when I'm Azaka farming. So right now she has 2.07. She's collected 2.07 E118 gold while playing. So I'm getting a 590% bonus. But I need to get all the way up to E119 before I go to 595. Like, so there's a certain point where it's just real diminishing returns on her. And yeah, you kind of got to play around that. Oh, hey, I've got more questions. I have Evelyn, Benwin, and Xander free on the time gate. I would go Evelyn. She's a great tank. She is in a slot with Shandy and Krull if you have them or don't have them. But Evelyn's a pretty solid tank to swap in. And she's got really long reach, so she's good for Descent into Avernus. Should I push for Azaka before opening a time gate? Sure. Again, you kind of don't have to. You don't have to do the time gate technically until like Monday morning at the latest. So if you want to grab Azaka now, go for it. And then you can open up the time game at any point this weekend. Some of these were answered in chat. I chose Wolfgar's Gate time gate. What the heck is this 6-column formation? I would have to look it up to see. But if you want to go to Reddit and you go like up to the top left, there's a. I guess we can do this live. Hold on. It's gonna look real weird. Let me see if I can set this up so I can point it out specifically. Boom. Google. Come on. There we go. Right up here on the left, wiki. Right? Click on the wiki. Come down here to Resources by Gaarawarr. It opens up a new window. Let's slide that up a little more. You're seeing all the secrets. Ooh. Yeah, I don't care. Down here I have, in all of these guides, there is a list of all the events and the event champions guides. So you get the event on the left with this nice new pretty formatting. And then the year 1, year 2, year 3 guides. So you just find, what do we want? Wolfgar. He was year 1, Bright Sword, so the end of year 1. So let's take a look at this formation. So we got all of his information. Woo! Woo! Yeah. That's fun. So yeah, I kind of have a rough breakdown. This is horrible because I've got Makos up here. So new players are not going to like this, but basically you have your three tanks in front. You've got then 5 more columns of people. So it's great if you have people who don't want lots of people around them. But if you want adjacencies, you're not going to get it here. So this is a multi-tank formation that then stretches everything out. Yeah, it's rough, but you can do it. I believe in you. If you're playing a variant with XYZ joins your formation, those slots still count as adjacent folks for buffs? No, those are NPCs. Adjacencies should only account for champions. If someone sees that something that's not like that, let me know. But usually an NPC doesn't count for anything. So you're not planning to push some of your favor this weekend. I was wondering if I should push against the Tiamat one. Elfgris, I have a lot of favor. Wait, not on this account, I don't. Ha ha. Hold on. Let's try that again. Elfgris, I have a lot of favor. I consider myself to have a lot of favor. I've got E35 in Torm. Only E29 in Kalimvor. I say only, but it's the lowest of the ones that I have. But I've finished everything in Kalimvor, so I don't need more favor there. I have E31 Helm's favor, and I have E33 Tiamat's favor. Again, I finished everything in these campaigns. If I need more favor for like Strahd's patron variants, then I'll revisit that, but I'm not to the point yet where favor is what's holding me back on those. So I don't know that I'll push for favor this weekend. I'm probably just going to push those time gates. How are you progressing so fast? We have potions of speed on. I have a large and 2 mediums. The 2 mediums only gives me more time. It doesn't give me more speed. I just wanted it to last a little bit longer. So we're at about 6x, plus we've got... those work with Shandy to get to 6x because Shandy buffs your speed. Melf also buffs speed in unique ways. Let's see what he's doing right now. His Speedy Supplement offers one of 3 different buffs. So right now it's the speed of enemy spawning is increased by 100, a little over 100%. And enemy spawning is basically the time it takes them to go from the edge, the very edge of your screen, to a point where they can actually be attacked. It's speeding up how fast they get to be killable. So they're coming in twice as fast. But he can do a couple different things. He can do that, or he can spawn additional enemies, or he can increase quest drops. So he just kind of rotates what he does, and he does that very well. All right, we're coming up into the 250s, so my click damage is running out. So we will throw what gold we have earned so far at our champions. Get them all leveled up. And then I'll get back to the questions. And we're almost there. Hey, we did it. All right. So, TRV Jontex, I have a question. How do you explain to my wife that I almost fell asleep on the keyboard almost midnight with me? I don't have to explain anything. That's the nice part about this. That's your job. Cry 3737. How far do you push on the time gates usually with both accounts? With the gearless account, the furthest I've gone was last event. I finally cleared level 300. But in a time gate, I would probably... All I do in a time gate with the gearless one, since I don't need the chests, is just complete the requirements. So I don't know. I'd probably get into the 200s if I tried to push it. For the main account, it depends on what I'm looking for. If I just need epics, then I'm probably only pushing to like 300 or 400, and I'm stopping because I don't really care as much about the silvers. They're nice, but I'm not gonna spend tons and tons of time when I can just not, I guess. I don't know. I could probably push a little deeper. Technically, the furthest I've ever gotten is, it's up here, I want to say is 810. Yeah, 810. Still working on Perpetual Adventurer. But after that was before the ultimate changes in version 1.0. So now I'm in the 700s again. So I could push up to the 700s depending on the specific time gate, because formations matter. Do Melf and Deacon stack? Yes, Melf and Deacon stack. And I believe they stack multiplicatively. CNE would have to double check, but I believe that's what they said. Melf stacks with Deacon, Melf stacks with Minsk, and Melf stacks with Havilar. So in all of those 3 different versions of his speed buff he can give. So he's super nice that way. New player just started 2 weeks ago. Welcome, Admiral RD. I really like the game. Question: when you're a new player, where do you get time gate pieces? Basically, it's once every 5 to 6 days off a boss. It just automatically drops. As long as you're playing consistently and you're not just sitting on one level forever, it's going to drop, pretty regularly. Outside of that, as you level up and you start unlocking your patrons, you can then buy time gate pieces in the shop, in their shop. And then occasionally you'll get, if you're a real money person, you'll get one of these wild offers that says, hey, buy all this stuff and we'll give you these things. And then you'll get like, ooh, geez, I didn't even notice. That's 10 time gate pieces. That's wild. They also want a lot of money for it, comparatively. But like for this one, you would get a golden epic, which basically is the gold border means you're getting double the bonus that you would normally be getting off that card. You get 14 chests plus 2 shinies. That's that little thing in the bottom left. They're kind of shoving up here. A shiny gives it a silver border instead of the gold. Gives you 50% more effect. And then a bunch of other stuff. This actually isn't bad because you're getting blacksmithing contracts, which is item levels for your champions. You're getting time gates, so you can go get gear for your champions. Potions of speed, which I like. Bounty contracts. These are great for during events because they give you gold and event tokens, and the big ones give you a lot. So it's not a bad offer, but that's another way to get those. Speaking about other ways to get things, I almost forgot. They are still currently doing the idle coloring challenge. where basically you can get the coloring sheets. There's a link. Someone, I don't know, maybe Sasha can put it in chat. There's a link to a blog post that has all of the coloring sheets that they have so far for the different champions. This week, it's walnut sheets. So if you color walnut and you post it online with hashtag idle coloring, for every 25 of those, we get a silver walnut chest. So they're giving out free gear. Might as well go get it. And you don't have to actually like print them out and color them in. You can also use like MS Paint and then just post them online. What's the difference between stacking multiplicatively and stacking additively? Gaarawarr. So I guess the easiest way to do that is if I have a buff that says it's going to increase something by 100, and then it can increase something else, and then something else affects it, and that increases it by 100. If I'm doing it additively, then I'm now buffed 200, right? 100 plus 100. If I'm doing it multiplicatively, I'm now buffed 10,000, I think is the math, right? That's 3 zeros, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, pretty sure that's 10,000. So there's a big difference between multiplicative and additive. In that example, it's the difference between 200 and 10,000. So usually you want to see multiplicative buffs as opposed to additive buffs if you're really trying to get outrageous numbers. How important are familiars? Another anomaly. As you can see, I've got 6 of them out on my screen right now. They're basically doing things automatically for me that I would have to do myself otherwise. With 6 out, not only is each of them clicking 5 times per second on these enemies that are spawning, but they're also, with 3 of them, they're picking up all the gold that drops automatically. I think 5, if you have 5 of them out on the field, it picks up that chest or that bag that just dropped with loot. And if you have a 6, like I have here, any distractions that show up on the screen, which are like the bats and the crows and the rats that run across, those get clicked automatically for gold. You can also automate them. If I press down F, I can see that I can place them in other places. So they can roam my ultimate bar and hit ultimates. They can level up my champions for me. So familiars are basically a way to automate the things you want to do so that this becomes a little more of an idle game instead of as super active. And you can pick some up for gems. The gems that drop, you can buy, I think, 5 of them with gems. You can get 3 from the patrons. So each patron has one in their shop. Like right down here, you see Conjured Spider. Each of them offers one in the shop, and then the rest are offered through the in-game store. Occasionally, they're offered as rewards for some kind of a major event. Occasionally. Do you know why C&E added the cool flexibility of when to start time gates? Was it basically lots of requests for it? I don't remember people requesting that, but that was a nice quality of life update that came when they did their like Timegate 2.0 revamp. I definitely like it. I don't remember people asking for it, but it happened. Give me cookies. Curious, what do you do for a living? I don't assume you make money from writing guides, being social media janitor. Actually, I don't make any money directly off guides, obviously, but I do have a stream, as you can see on the right below, right down there, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. I do have my own stream on my own channel on Tuesdays, and I'm a Twitch affiliate, so, I can make some money there. But I also work for a company that's like a middleman company. I am an independent contractor. I work for game studios, being a social media janitor a lot of the times. So like Facebook pages, answering questions, but also getting rid of all the stuff that really shouldn't be on a Facebook page, because why would you post that GIF on a public Facebook page of a company? Come on, people. So you can actually make money for that. Somebody's got to do it, and that's me. But yeah, like Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, what else have I done? Steam, official forums for places. Yeah. I've worked in all of those things. Streams, I've done stream moderation and community management and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I do when I'm not here. Is there a point pushing time gate levels as a new player to maybe get more silver chests, or is this more or less wasted time? Mavor, you really have to look at how far you can push easily. If the normal push in a time gate is, say, level 280, just throwing that out there, then there's not a lot of point in you pushing past 200 if all you want is gear. Like you could just go to 201 and get your second silver chest plus and finish off all of the other adventures, because 200 is way higher than what you need. And then you could end it if you wanted. Pushing further would get you a conversion of favor, much like an event does. But whereas an event, like say you got E10 favor an event, I use that because it's an easily roundable number. E10 is 100% conversion, so double. Basically you're doubling one of your regular campaign amounts of favor with that from an event. In a time gate, you're only getting a quarter of that amount, so you'd be getting a 25% multiplier. So yeah, I mean, the pushing deeper gets you favor, but if it's really, really, really hard for you to get to 301 or, X01, whatever the 01 is, then it may not be worth your time just for that one little silver chest. Spot Berlin. Wow, E69. I've been playing this game pretty much since the beginning and consistently, and I'm on E40. I guess played not strategic enough. Possibly. I mean, it just depends on what you're doing. Like the more favor you have in that campaign, the more you're going to get. I am seeing these relentless ghouls spawn though in the background, so that's nice. I thought they were going to be there forever though, and they seem to still go away afterwards. See, there's one. Oh no, there they are. Yeah, he's staying. So those are nice. They're kind of flying by and getting killed real quickly because we're real strong. But if you're not super strong, these can overwhelm your tanks real quickly. That's why this variant should be hard, but I have way more favor than I need for it. What's the sentiment on Morgane? I'm in the process of unlocking her the time gate and haven't heard much about her. Rambling Josh, she's great. It's just she, like as I was saying earlier, she takes some of your gold. She likes to be paid up front, and boy, does she gets paid well. But she also does a really good job. I've been using her a lot lately in these Strahd variants instead of Ayla, because Ayla isn't available in all of them, and then or actually I don't think Ayla is available at all in Strahd variants. And my other options would be Makos or Birdsong. So, and even in some of my wall pushing formations lately, I've been choosing Morgane, and then I'll just bring Ayla in to swap in to get her debuffs spread around, and then put Morgane back in. Do I have a life outside of Idle Champs? You wouldn't think so, right? But yes, not much. I don't think, lately, obviously. Is Dragonbait bugged? I level up his Shin State, but the DPS doesn't increase? I don't know. You have to make sure you're meeting all of the qualifications. What does his Shin State want? Increases the damage of all champions by a certain percent. So, I mean, as long as your DPS is within range, because it's within a certain number of slots, then it should be upgrading it. Otherwise, submit a ticket to Sean. I chose a time gate hero. Can I get another gate hero later on, or am I stuck with this until the timer ends? You're stuck with that one. You're choosing to unlock that champion and get their gear. I have 200 silver chests saved up. Should I just open them or wait for the event to oh wait, hold on. I gotta scroll over. To boost favor in the first run. Darth Junius, I like to hold on to them. As you can see, I have 437 that I've saved up since the last event started. So basically on my first run, I like to dump, when I get to my wall, I like to dump time gate, or like to go dump silver chests. And then if for some reason I'm not already at soft cap, those silver chests are going to actually help me get to soft cap and let me push further. So let me increase my wall. On my current account, it's not super necessary, but that was what I did to get to the point where I am now. It just basically gives you the ability to push a little farther and start your snowball off a little better on those initial runs. I also dump all my contracts, bounty contracts, on that first run too. Again, at my wall. I dump the silver chest first, and then I dump the contracts afterwards. Just unlocked a couple of the patrons. Any advice on how to spend influence symbols? Mid-wedge. Basically, if we hop over here, as you earn your influence, you're going to unlock more and more of these things on this list that you can buy. I don't, early on, when I'm first unlocking a patron, I don't spend a lot on these potions. I will buy my Timegate piece, and then I will save up and to try to buy the feats that I'm gonna actually be using on champions. So like, I don't think I need. I think I saved up and got. Well, let's look at Strahd. That's the one I did recently. As you can see, I haven't bought my Potion of Polish yet for Strahd. I did buy all the rest of the stuff though. I bought Keen Mind first because I wanted to be able to use Gromma for Strahd, and then I bought Full Moon because I was using Tyrell in his Moonbeam. So that's kind of how I base it. Like, am I going to be using this? If so, I buy that one first. And then I just start going through the list of these permanent purchases. And I tend to... I'll buy potions if I absolutely need them. But the only thing I absolutely buy each week is going to be the Timegate piece. So that tends to be when people first unlock their patrons, that's what they tend to save up earn enough influence for is the Timegate piece, and then they save up their currency to buy that each week. I don't buy the chests. I don't recommend buying the chests right away unless you're willing to just dump gear onto everybody, because it will give you gear for anybody that's eligible for that patron. So a lot of people like to wait until they've gotten all their core champions and epic gears by buying just regular gold chests, and then opening patron chests, because then that potential epic from a patron chest isn't going to go to your regular standard everyday champions that you can get with cheap gold chests. It's going to only go to event champions. So just a little bit of a prioritization there. Pretty Little Flower, I think your question for Archon got answered by chat. Let's see. Should I proceed to try and focus on gearing Archon, or are there champs that can scale better? Yeah, in general, Archon and Artemis, like Artemis here, they work better if you have really, really good gear on them. But up until you have that really, really good gear, there are champions that are going to do a lot better. They have very specific formation requirements. Like with this one, I built a formation. Archon works in a similar way in that he observes and then he usurps. He takes away from another champion, but he needs to be next to them. But Artemis does the same thing. He can just observe it off somebody. But you still have to build your formation off a specific champion. Like I'm doing here. I'm building everything trying to focus onto Catti Bree, but then Archon's stealing those buffs. And as you can see, he's about E10 above her in that regard. And you can build Archon the same way. Like his formation's the same way. It's just Archon and Artemis kind of flip formation building on their head, because you're trying to put a buff on somebody other than them, and then they just take it from them. So it's harder as a newer player, even harder as a veteran player, to build, just because that's not how every other DPS works. Random questions in chat. Looks like a lot of you guys are answering these already. Thank you very much. That's awesome. We're coming up to the end of the stream, so I'm probably not going to make sure I answer everything, because I am pretty far behind. We did pull a lot of them out. Thank you, Sasha. So, I think, like I said, so Monday, I don't think there's anything Idle Champions related to Monday. Tuesday, there's a stream on my channel at 1 p.m. CNE time, so that's Pacific Daylight Time. Wednesday will be Mars's Guiding Hand, same time slot. So he'll go over all the event stuff. He'll be the first one to talk about all of that, so you can see it there. The event will go live at noon Pacific Daylight Time, usually. Most of the time. So wait for that then. And then the CNE dev stream will be on Thursdays. And then we'll be back to like Fridays with my stream. But before my stream is Griddle Champions. If you haven't watched that yet, check that out at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. excuse me. 10 p.m. would be late for pancakes. Not really. Actually, I would have pancakes at 10 p.m. But a pancake stream would be a little late at 10 p.m. Let me just jump to the end and see if there's any last minute questions I can answer. Apologies if I missed anybody this time. If you head over, like I said, if you come to the stream on Tuesday on my channel, down there, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr, go over there and follow my channel. It's usually a bit slower, and slower in terms of like tons of questions. We've got a nice chill channel on Tuesdays, so you can ask lots of questions and I can give lots of answers. What do we got? What do we got? I know there's someone. How to get more Timegate pieces. I think we just said that. I think I've answered that like 3 times. The only way to get more Timegate pieces is to buy them in a patron shop. For 20, you can get 1 a week for 2,500 currency. So 1 from each patron. So that's 3 extra a week. You get 1 automatically. That's 4. Outside that, you got to buy them in the shop for real cash. They come packaged with these wild offers. Like this one gives me 10. 10's a lot. I've seen 10 and 11. Those are the highest I've ever seen. But usually it's like 1 to 5 or something. They come with a lot of other things. So if that's your thing and you want to support the game, which is a great thing to do, and you can afford it, then pick up some decently priced wild offers, and you'll have more Timegate pieces. When will winter end? Sid, I wish I knew. Like it's. Hold on, let me. This might cover up the. That's covering up a little of the closed captioning. It's currently 48 degrees here. It was in the 30s the other day. I'm like, it's April, people. What's going on? Wheels. Hey, Gar, just want to say thank you for being super helpful in Discord. You're welcome. There's lots of helpful people in Discord. If you haven't headed over to the Idle Champions Discord, you should. I believe it's just discord.gg/idlechampions, something like that. Or you can type !champions_discord in chat, and it'll probably give you a link. What gets you more favor, running a mission or running a Timegate free play? Like running like a regular adventure? Like Timegates are going to get you favor in that Timegate that you convert out into favor in your normal campaign. Usually running something in your normal campaign is better, unless you're to the point where pushing to your wall and trying to do a deep favor run only gets you like a very small amount of favor, like that, then Timegates may be better. I did hit that point at one point. Like doing deep runs now doesn't get me a whole lot of favor. So converting from Timegates and events is where I get most of my favor. Are the champions that a given chest can contain loot for determined when you acquire the chest or when you open it? When you open it. Absolutely, positively when you open it. So you can hold on to that and open it up later, or you can open it right away if you don't want stuff that's in there. So like especially like the weekend chests that are going on right now. It's these gold footprint chests. Oh, I just closed it. Now it won't tell me who's in them. Oh, over here. Delana, Stokey, Birdsong, Avern, and Zorbu. If you don't have some of these, it won't drop that loot when you open it. But if you hold on to it, and then you wait until you obtain those champions, it will have that loot. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty smart. 48 degrees, that's so hot. Fahrenheit? Not Celsius. I'm a silly American. I apologize. All right, everybody. So we are going to do the thing where we end the stream here in a couple minutes. Let me see, though. We are pretty close. We're at, 4:25? So close to finishing. I don't think this is going to be an issue. We slowed down a little, but I did not max out my damages. I'm doing that now. I don't think this is going to be a problem, pushing through with All You Know Is Wrong. I also don't think I'm going to have a huge amount of trouble. Well, A Tale of Two Cities, I need to get to 100. It looks like I've walled at 60, but I haven't updated anything over there, so it should be pretty straightforward. I don't know. I'll update on my Twitter later for those that care, or in Discord. Stop by. Until next week. We do have a thing we usually do on Fridays, don't we? Hold on. We're going to head over. For those of you who have seen Binwin in-game, Binwin Bronzebottom, the petrified hero, we like to head over to his stream at Table Titans. So Twitch TV/Table Titans. I can't punch it into the chat, but we'll be heading over there after this. If you want to join us, they are playing Eye of the Beholder 2. So some more D&D. if you are a sub, obviously there's our raid emote when we like to hop into the channel. But they are playing Eye of the Beholder with Binwin and Crowy, his pal Crowy, and they actually have me in their formation. They have me as an elf, though. It's like, guys, beard, dwarf, come on. But we'll see. We'll see. We are. I think they were puzzling through a certain thing, and I think they finally open it last week. They've been having some trouble. Man, those old school D&D games, their maps are difficult. So we will see. We will see where they go this week. But if you want to come over and hang out and join us for some more D&D fun, you can. Much appreciated. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.